anyone who works from home and has children, let alone homeschools, knows that, you know, it's a real struggle to find a medium, a happy medium around that you feel like you're accomplishing what you need to do. This is just one source we're using right now because we have found that there are tons of resources but on YouTube, of all places, right? It complements you know, when you are teaching, when you have your teaching time. It should be an aid instead of the only source. I just want to encourage that, you know. Don't feel bad about needing an aid, but don't make it the primary source over a long period of time either. It's Leah with Family Heritage Living. I just wanted to do a super quick video today. We've had some inquiries about what kind of tips or tricks could we recommend for people who work from home and who either want to or are homeschooling, to help them feel like they are accomplishing what, you know, they need to do with schooling, yet they're able to get their job done. Anyone who works from home and has children, let alone homeschools, knows that, you know, it's a real struggle to find a medium, a happy medium around that you feel like you're accomplishing what you need to do. And if you have a business of any type, you know, there are times that, you know, that business can demand all of your attention. And then there are times that you have all the time in the world because there's just no business going on. But so to equal the times out, one thing that we rely upon is what we call video school. Obviously, Zebulon and Simeon are school age. Zebulon is, you know, first, second grade age, and Simeon is, he's 4.5, so he could be early 5 kindergarten. And just like days of old when you had, you know, classrooms that had multiple ages, you have to find a way to school together. And you have to know, as homeschoolers, you usually have the privilege of knowing your child's learning bin, you know, what works best for them. And at different ages, it's going to be different things. Zebulon loves lecturing type things. He loves new information. I mean, he cannot get enough of it. He also enjoys the learning through music. Okay, we all love music. I mean, music is a very powerful tool. It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. Lucifer was not only, you know, referred to as the angel of light, but he was also the angel of music. He led the heavenly choirs. You know, he's very, very wise in those ways. He can use music to draw you away from where you should be headed. And that's just a little added note there. But music can either teach you good things or it can teach you bad things. Now, Simeon is at the age where he does not particularly care to sit very long for what I will refer to as lecture learning. Now, he doesn't mind it when it's with the actual person, you know, one-on-one, but if he's watching something, his attention span is pretty small, and we don't really want to change that because we don't want a lot of screen time with these guys. We don't want these guys to be, you know, dependent upon watching stuff for their entertainment. We get enough of that in this world. You go to a gas station and there's screens out in the gas station. I haven't figured that one out. Why do some gas stations have like TV screens? You know, you go to your schools, they've got, you know, screens all over. You go into the stores. I mean, they're everywhere. They are just so annoying. I also am not a big believer that animation should be the primary source for children for entertainment. The animation can be good, but it also can create a disconnect. I'm not saying there's not good animated videos. We have some that we really love and enjoy, but overdone, it can be overwhelming. So I say all this because when you start to think about using video schooling as an option for part of your education for your children. You have to determine what exactly you want. So, you know, I gave the example of how each of our children right now like to learn. And because we teach them together, and if I'm using video school when I'm really busy, which means that I'm not sitting at the table with them teaching them, I have to make sure that Simeon is not getting overloaded or bored with what he's doing, that he's actually able to retain things. So what I do at this point in time, and there's all types of ways to involve the computer into your education for your children. This is just one source we're using right now because we have found that there are tons of resources but on YouTube of all places, right? There are so many different channels with so many different educational learning opportunities that it was just when we started, you know, going through this and trying to decide how we were going to apply this into helping educate our children at the same time allowing me some freedom to work while they're getting some teaching, we came across several things that could benefit both children. I'm going to open up a couple of our playlists that I have created for school. I usually keep those private just because, I mean, they're just private. So I'll open them up so if you're interested, you can go and you can see what kind of videos we may present to the kids. Usually what we try to do, I will find videos that are short in time span. We usually talk like between 3 minutes for a music teaching video and up to 10 minutes for a lecture type video. I try to find videos that are appropriate for their age range. The other thing I do is in between like maybe a lecture type video and a music learning video, and that can be the music learning video. When I say that, it's not like, you know, necessarily not referring to nursery rhymes. I'm talking like where the person, the creator of the content, is singing songs, maybe teaching the child how to count by twos or how to do phonics. You know, maybe they're doing identification. Jack Hartman is one that we use quite a bit, and he's all songs, and what he will do is in phonics, he'll present the letter via song, give it a sound, and then sometimes he'll do it in sign, depending on which video you pick. He was one of the first ones we found last year. What that did was that opened up a door for me to realize there are other videos specifically for sign language on YouTube. And they're done in short, you know, increments of like 3 minutes. And that's my primary target to keep attention span. Because remember, at this time when we're using video school, the kids really aren't interacting with me. I mean, I'm at the table just a few feet away from them. I'm a big believer that I need to be accessible to them. They have questions all the time. Sometimes there might be a commercial that comes through that I definitely don't want them seeing. You know, that's another negative about video school. We have learned to, you know, that in between when you make a playlist, the commercials will play. So Zebulon will jump up and pass by those. But like for the sign language, I have no idea. I had no idea what American Sign Language was. I didn't even know the alphabet. And so when I discovered that these were available on YouTube, I found videos that focused first on the alphabet, and not just the signing alphabet, but that they were in the background, they would show the actual letter, the physical letter. So that was getting reinforced in like Simeon, who needs to learn the alphabet at this stage in the game. And at the same time, he's learning the alphabet in American Sign Language. So he's got the hand shapes, and then he's also learning at the same time the sound. So I'm hitting 3 things in this one 3-minute video. And at this time, both boys know the alphabet and sign, and they've got about 75 words and phrases to the vocabulary in American Sign Language. And that's just over about 8-10 week period. So that's pretty good. I'm really pleased with that. But that's just an example of how videos that you pick for schooling can be beneficial. Okay. Now they can also be negative. I take time when I create my playlist. I can take 2 hours to create an hour-long educational playlist. First off, it's confusing because I say I'm using the video school to have time to do some work that I have to do. But the thing with that is I can create these playlists. I can create them at night after the children go to bed. I can create them in the morning before they're awake. I can create them during the day. While the kids, we've done school, maybe they've got some playtime or they're busy with their daddy or something or their brothers. I can create these things in increments or in a more appropriate time when the children are asleep. I can also take a portion of a day when the kids are might be with their father, and I can put 2 or 3 or 4 playlists together, and then I can shelve them until I need them. So the negative though about doing video school off of YouTube is that you need to, or anything, it doesn't even have to be YouTube, it can be anything, is you need to make sure that you know the source that you're getting your video from. For an example, there are some things that are pretty basic, and it's going to be really hard for somebody to mess up your foundation that you've laid for your family. Let's say like simple arithmetic or phonics or sight words. Those are all pretty basic. You're not going to get any contradiction in your teaching from things like that for the most part. What you could get contradiction in is like the children have been working on the solar system. There's a song on the solar system. There's lots of songs on the solar system. There's lots of videos on the solar system. But it'd be really easy because evolution, for example, evolution is the base teaching throughout schools. Even for some Christians, because many Christians went to public schools, so they were taught evolution versus creation. And sadly for churches, creation is not a big teaching area. So many Christians are left in the dark in a false teaching of evolution. So you think you could be safe, and you're teaching your child about the solar system, and somewhere in there, 18 billion years ago gets brought up, or the Big Bang Theory, whichever the current belief in evolution is, because there's many factors of how evolutionists deem that it has come about. But the point is if you're not aware of it, it can kind of blindside you. So if you haven't laid the foundation, when you choose to add something like that into your video school, you need to make sure of one of 2 things. One, you've laid the foundation out for your child, showing them the way that needs to be taught. Make them aware of false teachings that are going around so they can identify them. The other thing is you need to take time to scan. If you haven't done the first, you definitely need to take time to watch the entire video that you're planning on presenting to your child later, so that you are aware of what's in there. If you've laid the foundation, you can kind of scan through certain videos, and if you miss something, then at least your child's got the correct foundation laid and can know that what they're hearing is not accurate. The other thing is that you don't want to use the videos as the main source of education, meaning that there are busy times in life, and sometimes you may need to find that you're using it 2-3 times a week for a couple weeks at a time, but you still need to make sure that you're getting that the book learning, getting the dexterity going on with the writing and things like that. This is primary, mainly for children that are getting the basic techniques and information laid down for them. I find that it's a great way to either reinforce, and if you look at, if you were to see all of our video playlists, you would see that I do a lot of repetition, because like I said, a lot of these videos are 3 minutes long. So something that they saw last week, I may feel they need to see again. Kind of like, when we learn anything, it's through repetition. Just like if you learn sight words or the multiplication tables, that's through repetition. Well, the same thing with sign language, or even how the brain functions or the heart functions. I may repeat these type of videos over a period of time so that they are reinforced for them. This information is there. Songs, Zebulon, he loves to learn in all directions. Simeon is really focused on, because he's just at that age and he just likes music. So I have tried to find subjects that I want Zebulon to know about, like the continents, the oceans, the solar systems, as I mentioned, what states are in the United States, the countries of the world. Those are all things that I feel Zebulon needs to know about. And it doesn't hurt Simeon to hear them too. But Simeon doesn't want to learn about them in lecture form, but he'll sit there and learn about them in song form. And of course, Zebulon then learns even more because that song sticks in your head. You know, music plays over and over in your head. Sometimes I'll throw in, to break things up, maybe a short cartoon or a short little story. Sometimes I will throw in just a regular song, just to kind of break things up. Simeon likes folk songs. He likes patriotic songs. And another thing I want to put in here about music is music. Our children-focused music today is very irritating, if you ask me. It's very hard. It's very I don't want to use the word upbeat, but loud and aggressive. And so I've made sure that the children know there are other types of music, and they know, just because we kind of, you know, appreciate all styles of different music. But when it comes to learning, you know, and you're really focused on that, they prefer the actual more folky songs. So I've tried to pick, you know, songs that will equal out. It will kind of, if I play a song that's really, you know, high-strung and uptight, then I try to balance it out with a calming song, just so that, you know, the tension's not stressing them out, because that does. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when music is loud or music is really fast, it can really stress me out. It's especially if I'm feeling a little bit on edge or something. So I try to make sure that they have the opportunity to learn and from the fast-paced music, but I don't want it to dominate. I don't want it to be something that gives them anxiety. So that's one trick we use when times are really busy with work and stuff. And again, it's important that you just don't make it, you know, like a babysitter. Like, you know, a lot of kids will just sit and watch cartoons and stuff, or shows, and it's not feeding them. You know, you've got to look at the educational side of it. And it complements the, you know, when you are teaching, when you have your teaching time, it should be an aid instead of the only source. I just want to encourage that. You know, don't feel bad about needing an aid, but don't make it the primary source over a long period of time either. And again, you know, there are things I couldn't teach the children sign language, and that's one of the most exciting things for me to watch them, because they are really learning a second language and signing, and you know, it's a useful language, and it's something that who knows what it could turn into later down the road. But it's just a great tool, and it also can be a great aid in education. So I hope this helps somebody. If you have any questions, please let us know. As always, we will talk soon, and God bless.